Okay, everybody, what's up? Let's do this. Let's do this. My name is Michael Partita. I've been a counselor for over 25 years. And we're about to start. We're about to start, huh? Aren't we? We're about to start our new year, 25, 26. Counselor apprenticeship. And the goal of this channel is to give back to everybody who is a counselor. So, what are your thoughts on being a counselor? I want to know, what are your thoughts? What are some things, some questions that you have about being a counselor, whether it's elementary or middle school? I've only been a counselor in elementary for 14 years, middle school for 12 years, and in education beyond that. And so my goal is every day is to talk about certain things like conflict mediations. How do you do your conflict mediations in your school? What do you do? How do you plan them? What are the steps? Who gets a conflict mediation? You know, a lot of times there might be something that happens on the campus, and your administration thinks, "Oh, this is the end of the world. We need to have a conflict mediation with these students immediately." And yet you're the professional, you're the counselor. You've been trained on what to do and what not to do, right? When to do it and when to not do it. Because if you run in too fast to do a conflict mediation, you're going to have students who are they're not ready, right? Up here in the mind, they're not ready for a conflict mediation. So you need to be thinking about that. As you start your new school year, how are you going to handle your administration? How are you going to handle the teachers? How are you going to handle the students? Okay? Be ready. Be ready. Don't just be blindsided. Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Especially when your administration comes to you and says, when these girls need a conflict mediation. These boys need a conflict mediation right now. They had a verbal on campus. And it's very important that you get to them right. That's why they're the administration. They want the problem solved right away, right? Well, there's a reason why you are the counselor, because you are going to solve the problem when they are ready, when they're ready. And then you're going to have success. What else are you going to deal with this year? You know what happens every year is girl conflict. You know, the girls smashing on each other. What is your thoughts on this topic? What are your thoughts? What's your questions about girl conflict? Every year, and I always tell people, it's the same problem, just different students. Same problem, just different students that show up on campus. The girl conflict. The girls fighting over a boy. The girls mad because the other girl's looking at her in a certain way. What are your thoughts on this topic? How are you going to handle that? Okay. What about restorative conversations? You should be having restorative conversations in your toolbox. How do we go about repairing harm between two students, between staff and a student? Have you had a restorative conversation between a student and a staff member? Because, you know, teaching is very difficult, right? I don't know if you know this or not, but it's hecka difficult. If we do not set up the students for success, especially with their teacher, we're going to have conflict, right? Restorative conversations between students and other students so that we can repair the harm. You see, the goal to understand is you're going to have conflict. Every school, every class, every environment is going to have conflict, whether it's at school or even at home, right? But because we are in the school and we are working with the students, we need to teach them how to handle conflict. That it's okay that we're not going to get along with everybody on the campus. It's okay that we're not going to get along with every student, every teacher. You don't have to like everybody. But what we want you to do is learn how to respect each other. To learn how to coexist on a campus. You walk on this side of the campus. I'm going to walk on this side of the campus. and we're not going to look at each other. And we're going to have a plan so that it doesn't turn into a fight, right? Students need to be taught how to have a plan. And when they have a plan, we're going to have success. So what are your thoughts on conflict mediations? What do you think? How do we continue to help students be successful in school, especially middle school? I work in middle school. I've worked in elementary. I've never worked in high school. We want our students to know how to handle a conflict mediation. We want our girl conflict to be successful and to be able to, rank it, have girls rank it from a 10 to a 0. Okay, we want to be able to learn how to teach students how to have restorative conversations with each other. Because as adults, as the older you get, we have to practice that, right? Even if you have a family, if you have a spouse, or you have children, you want to teach them how to have restorative conversations, how to solve conflicts in the home. That's what parents are dealing with, right? I have parents that come to me all the time. I don't know what to do with my student anymore. Students not going to school, students arguing, students combative with the parent. And this I always tell people, you think it's hard having kids when they're 4 and 5? No. It's hard having kids when they get into middle school and up into high school, because now you have a student who's coming into their own environment, their own way of thinking. You're basically like roommates. And so you need to learn how to navigate that so that you guys are getting along with each other. It's not easy. It's not easy. The older your children get, you're now living with a roommate, right? Your child has an idea of what they want to be and how they want to talk. They don't have to be exactly like you. And so we want to teach kids how to do conflict mediations. So what are we going to do? My name is Michael Partita. I work in middle school. I've been trained in all these areas, including what about undercover anti-bully teams? Are you using them? Have you used them? We use them all the time. And I have to tell you, every time that I have used an undercover anti-bullying team, it's always been solved. Because you want to have students rate the problem, right? From a 10 to a 0. You want to go with the student go from a 10 to a 0 with the bullying problem. The victim. The students are being bullied. You want them to rate the problem. It's a 9 today, but in 2 weeks, it's going to be a 1. And putting a team together. Have you put a team together to solve bullying? What are your thoughts on that? Because you're going to have your admin and your teachers. What are you doing to solve bullying? Parents, this school does nothing. You've done nothing to help my student be not bullied. That school is a big problem. Don't go to that school because your kid's going to get bullied. We have a tool to solve bullying. You have to use it, though. You have to practice it. It's called undercover anti-bully teams. And we're going to cover that topic. And as a matter of fact, I think I already have another video about undercover anti-bullying teams. I think I have another video about conflict mediation. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll get into restorative conversations. But if you're going to be a counselor, you definitely need to learn how to use undercover anti-bullying teams. And I have a whole plan that we can cover. And I think, like I told you, I have a video. So I'm excited about this new school year. And how are you excited? How are you excited? And what thoughts on the topic do you have? Let's talk about questions that you have, situations that we should solve, and how do we go about solving those problems so that everybody has success. Everybody. And so more videos will come. My goal is to work on that. But in the meantime, I want you to share below, how do we solve our problems? What are your thoughts? What are your questions about being an amazing counselor? especially if you're starting out. If you're brand new. I remember being brand new. I remember feeling like I had to solve everybody's problem, like I had to put out everybody's fire, and the only person who can solve the problem is me, the counselor. And that's not the case. You're the counselor. You're trained. You're an expert. And you solve the problems when they come to you and they're ready to be solved. You use your expertise. So here at this channel, at the Counselor Apprenticeship, we're going to learn how to be better and how to solve problems that come up every day. Every day. Okay? So I want you to have a fantastic day. Don't forget to like and share this recording as we begin this new school year. Have a great day.